But when making a female sutana, this is not the exact measurement you'll be using for the back, purposely because you need ease around the armhole. So when raising your arm to shout hallelujah, the armhole area will not be too tight and you will feel comfortable. Don't forget that there is no opening at the front and no opening at the back. You can see the joining I have on this sutana does not fall at the center of our shoulder. This is the center of our shoulder. So after taking the bust level measurement, I will leave my measuring tape on the shoulder line. Then I will hold it on the bust, then extend it downwards to the under bust, which is the empire level. The under bust is where the bra stops under the bust. So that is, this measurement is going to stop exactly on the iron you have on your bra. Not like this. But your measuring tape, when you are putting your measuring tape, your finger must be able to push up the breast. If your measuring tape is not pushing up the breast, that means you are not on the empire level. So what I have here for her is 14.25. Okay, so immediately I'm done taking that measurement, I will leave it on the bust, then hold it on the empire level, then extend it to the waist level. So for waist level here, I have 18 inches. Okay, I have 18 inches not because I have the joining here, because this sutana is not meant for her. Now, when you are taking the waist level measurement, I need to explain this. The measurement has to stop on the natural waistline, which is commonly known as a half length. This measurement falls above the navel, that is 2 to 3 inches above the navel. In order to locate that point, you can tell your client to bend towards one side. If your client bends towards one side, there's going to be a part that goes inner by the side. So all you need to do is just to trace that point forward. When you trace the point forward, it's going to fall above the navel, not on the navel. I know you will have seen different sutana on different people. There are some people, when they put on their sutana, the waistline is going to fall, that is the joining here, is going to fall on the loin, that is below the stomach. Such sutana will not look nice on the wearer. In order to make a very beautiful and good looking sutana, your waistline, that is the joining that we have in between the upper part and the lower part, it has to be above the navel, not below the stomach. So that is why this measurement has to stop on the natural waistline. You don't extend the measurement downward like so. So this is where our break point is. The break point I have on the mannequin, that is below the stomach. The sutana will not look nice if you take the waist measurement on this point. It has to be on the navel. Then you take 2 or 3 inches above that point. That is what you use as your waist level. All these measurements are taken in length. Some of the measurement taken in length has to be taken in circumference as well. Don't forget, sutana is in 2 parts. We have the upper part and we have the lower part. So I'm still showing you how to take the measurements that has to do with the upper part, which is the bodice. We have taken the bust level, the empire level and the waist level. So we need to take the circumference of those 3 measurements. So for the bust level, the measuring tape comes from the back. Then I will wrap it around the fullest part of the bust. That is the point I took the bust level, not the upper bust and not on the lower bust, but at the center of the bust, which happens to be the fullest of the bust, like so. So you can see the way I'm taking my measurements. I'm taking all the measurements accurately, purposely because I'm working with pattern drafting method. So every is needed in order to make the garment free on body will be added when I'm drafting the pattern. So we don't take measurements with ease when it comes to pattern drafting. fitted and perfect measurement. So here I have 35.625 for a bust circumference. Then on the empire circumference, because I took the measurements, if you are using empire circumference, if you take the level, then you will have to take it in circumference as well. So I will wrap my measuring tape around the empire level. So when you are doing this, your measuring tape must push up the bust. So that is what will give you assurance that you are exactly on the empire level. Because the importance of the measurements is to make the bust area come out well. So you can see, and when you are taking all your circumference measurements, make sure you have a finger in between your measuring tape. So this is going to create a space in between the fabric and the skin. Okay, so for her I have 30 inches for the empire level measurement. Then on the waistline, on the exact point where I took the waist level, I will measure the waist circumference measurement. This measurement has to be wrapped around that point as well, and for her I have 27 inches. So that is how to take the circumference measurement. Another measurement needed in making a female sutana is the bust span measurement. The bust span measurement is the measurement taken from one nipple to another. This is popularly called nipple to nipple. So that is from the fullest part of the bust where you took the bust level to the other bust, the distance in between the two nipples. So here I have 6.5 inches for her. This measurement is needed in plotting the darts. You can see there's darts on this sutana, so your sutana must be with that. The importance of that is also to help the bust area come out very well, which will help the sutana to look beautiful. So these are the measurements that has to do with the upper part of the sutana, that is the bodice. I told you earlier that the sutana is divided into two parts. We have the upper part, which is the bodice, and the lower part, which is the skirt. So for the skirt, two basic measurements are needed: the waist circumference measurement and the length of the skirt, which is going to be the length of the sutana. We have taken the waist measurement already, so there is no need of taking that anymore. So the only measurement left in the lower part of the sutana is the length of the skirt. In taking the length of the skirt of a sutana, the measurement has to be taken from the natural waistline point I showed you earlier. So I will lay the tip of my measuring tape on that point, and it has to be by the side of the body. So the measuring tape has to pass through the fullest part of the hip. So I will extend it downwards until it gets to the bone on the leg. So the bone on the ankle, that is where you stop. So when taking this measurement, it must not exceed that point, purposely because sutana is not taken with shoes or slippers. So there's nothing that will raise this up. It must not be too long and it must not be too short. So the average measurement is for you to take the measurement and stop on the bone you have on the ankle. So whatever you have is going to be the length of the skirt. The last but not the least set of measurements I will be demonstrating are the measurements that has to do with the sleeve. Okay, these measurements are the sleeve length and the sleeve opening. Please, you have to pay a closer attention at this point. In taking the sleeve measurement, I will take the measurement from the center of the shoulder. Meanwhile, this can be done in two ways. You can either take the measurement from the center of the shoulder, or you take the measurement from the side of the neck. If you take the measurement from the side of the neck, then you will be subtracting half of the back from the measurement you have. But in order not to make this too complicating, I prefer taking the measurements from the center of the shoulder. So from the center of the shoulder, by the side of the arm, and when you are taking this measurement, the arm must not be by the side like so. It has to be raised a little, just a little. Then the measuring tape passes through the elbow point. So when I get to the elbow point, I will leave the tip of my measuring tape on the shoulder, hold it on the elbow point, then I will extend it downward to the wrist, to the bone I have on the wrist. So this is the wrist. Then it will get to the bone on the wrist. So whatever I have is going to be the sleeve length measurement. Okay, so when we get to the drafting part, that is when we will be separating the basic sleeve from the cuff. So whatever I'm using for the cuff will be subtracted from the measurement I just finished taking. So after taking the sleeve length measurement, definitely we need opening for the sleeve. In taking this measurement, you have to be very careful so that you will not end up with a sleeve that will be too tight, too small, or too loose for the hand. In taking the measurement, I will wrap my measuring tape around the wrist like this. This measurement is not taken firmly on the wrist because there is no placket or zipper on the sleeve, which will create room for the hand to enter and off the sleeve. So for this reason, the measurement has to be taken with ease. So this is the only measurement I'm taking with ease when making a female sutana. So I will take the measurement with ease, and for me to be in a safer place, I will remove my measuring tape on the hand. Okay, it must not be too loose or too tight. So let's assume I'm using 9 inches for her wrist circumference measurement. I will try to pull it out. You can see this can come out easily. Then when you are taking this measurement, it also depends on the wearer. Some people prefer having a tight wrist. They don't want it to be too loose, they don't want it to be too wide. So when they are putting it on and off, it will not be that easy. In such case, you will still need to add ease, but it will not be too free. So let's assume I'm sewing for such person. The measurement I took earlier was 9 inches, so I will just subtract 1 inch and I will make it 8 inches. You can see it will come out, but it's going to be with force, not easily. But if you are sewing for somebody that doesn't want to stress herself, make sure you take the measurements in such a way your measuring tape comes out easily on the hand. So guys, that's all on how to take measurement for a female sutana. And don't forget, this measurement works for quite a number of celestial garment styles. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't, so that you won't miss any of my subsequent videos. Till we meet next time, always do remember, there is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs.